Hi everyone, welcome back to the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm GoLocal News editor Kate Nagel. It's been a full news and politics hour. We started off with Ray Rickman, went to Bob Wickham, had Harvard pollster John Del Vope, followed by U.S. Senate candidate Bobby Nardolillo. But all things politics, all things national, we go to Spencer Sullivan with Lean Campaign Strategies, the CEO and founder of Down Inside the Beltway. Spencer, thank you for joining us today.
Always happy to be on.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about the post-Alabama world. Let's talk about where things stand now that Doug Jones has emerged the victor. Is Moore going to still contest this or not?
Well, even as late as today, he's released a video saying he still hasn't conceded. He's still going to wait for the votes. I think the sooner he gets past this, the sooner we can all move on. This definitely speaks to a question. It speaks to the importance of candidate quality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Candidate quality really matters. It doesn't matter what party you're on, Democrats or Republicans. It doesn't even matter what side of the party you are on. If you're progressive or moderate Dem, or you're conservative Republican or moderate Republican, depending on the district you're running in, the quality of the candidate really matters. And this shows more so than anywhere else than here, because President Trump carried the state by 30 points, and then you ended up having a Democrat win the state because of just the allegations and the poor quality of the candidate. So the quicker the Republicans will move on, the quicker we can get past this. I'm happy to see that even though I am a Republican, believe in Republican values, that common decency did win out today, which will give us a better chance in 2020 to retake the seat with a more moderate or mainstream Republican that can actually win the seat.
Do you think it would have been a liability for the Republican Party to have had Roy Moore elected and that sort of looming over the party moving forward?
Absolutely. I mean, you can think back to candidates like Todd Akin, right? Even when Todd Akin made those comments back in 2012, didn't matter if you're running for Senate or Congress, if you were a Republican, you had to answer for what Todd Akin said. And this, Roy Moore wasn't even likable before all these allegations came out. I don't think a lot of people understand how unlikable Roy Moore was in Alabama before any of these allegations actually came out. So for him to be seated and then go through the ethics investigation like Majority Leader McConnell said that would go through, this would have been, just a drip effect, like we saw in the Hillary Clinton campaign with her emails, right? This is kind of this drip effect that never got out of the news and just constantly reminded the voters of said incident. So we definitely would have seen the same thing here. And then I definitely feel like in 2018, most Republicans, whether it's Senate or congressional, would have to have answered a question about Roy Moore at least once or twice.
Should Roy Moore have gone to the polls on his horse?
I'm still waiting to see the SNL skit on that. I definitely would appreciate to see that myself. I think it speaks to. I'm not.
Is it just par for the course with the campaign? Was it just sort of the fitting finale, if you will?
Might as well. I mean, he might as well stay at the Army-Navy game and never came back to Alabama.
That horse video has sort of lived on in infamy, but now we're progressing. I was talking with an earlier guest. It seems like it was years ago now, not just days in this media cycle in which we are in. But with Doug Jones and the new makeup of the Senate, I mean, how do things look moving forward? And let's start with tax reform. Where do you see things as the Republicans are feverishly trying to get a win?
Yeah, so I think, backing up a second, the fact that we're going to lose a seat makes it that much harder for President Trump or Republicans to get any part of their agenda done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now they can't. They used to be only to afford to lose 2 votes, right? Now they can only afford to lose 1 vote, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this also just speaks to the whole Steve Bannon wing of this party, in which it's, well, because Steve Bannon now, we're down to 1 vote, and it's going to prevent President Trump from getting some of his agenda done, right? So he's really hurting the party just because he wants to burn down whatever said folks in the party doesn't like. Tax reform today, of course, you saw Marco Rubio come out opposing the vote because his pet issue or pet project, if you will, is the expansion of the child tax credit. Currently it's at $1,000. It's going to go to $2,000, but he wants to expand it the refundability aspect of it even more. So there's two lines of thought here, right? One is we're so close, the White House is so much in need of getting some major legislation, tax reform done before Christmas, especially before Doug Jones is seated, right, at the same time. They're going to work with Marco Rubio on this, Senator Rubio on this, to find some type of compromise like they did with Senator Ron Johnson with his passengers. The other side of the argument here as well is, does Senator Rubio really want to go back to Florida and say, I was the no vote real tax reform in this country over decades, right? It's been decades since we've had actual real tax reform, and I was the one who shut it down because I didn't like one aspect of it.
Is this a matter of who's going to blink first? Is this Rubio posturing for future political aspirations?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both, right? I think you're spot on there. I think Rubio has some political leverage here. I think the White House has some political leverage here. The general consensus down here, though, is it's going to get done. Tax reform is going to get done before Christmas, most likely. It's just a question of who blinks first and what form does it take.
Mm-hmm. And so what else, looking into 18, we're fully in election mode here in Rhode Island and around the country. We always appreciate the benefit of your perspective looking around. Again, we've spoken about this before. Again, the real hot races to look at.
Yeah, I keep an eye on the generic ballot. I mean, especially looking into the midterms, right? The generic ballot and it comes down to this question. Does the voters prefer a Republican-controlled Congress or a Democrat-controlled Congress? Mm-hmm. Right, a very generic question. But that generic ballot can kind of tell us which way the country is leaning and which way the midterms are going to go. Right now, the generic ballot is like 11.2% in favor of Democrats by real-clear politics, right? Now, that may sound like a lot, and it is typically, but keep in mind, in 2016, the Democratic advantage there was like +6, +8. So Republicans are really hoping that this stays underneath the generic ballot, right? Really stays underneath 10 points. And in that case, we can maintain and hold. If it gets above 11, 12, 13, percentage points for the generic ballot advantage for the Democrats, then Republicans can kind of see that we're in a little bit of trouble here. Mm-hmm. Even with that, I mean, you saw in 2016, and I point to 2016 because it's the most recent. I think Senator Rob Portman ran one of the best races, swing state, and he took that state right off the map because his playbook as a Republican was to get out there, start very early, almost disconnect himself from the Republican brand, and be the hometown senator, right? Okay. So there's ways to overcome Trumpism. There's ways to overcome the negative aspects of however the general public is looking at the Republican brand in swing districts or swing states like Ohio. So there's playbooks to overcome it. It's just a question of how serious is each member of Congress taking their districts.
As you mentioned, as you said, overcoming Trump, is that the real elephant in the room for Republicans 18, whether incumbents are running for the first time, addressing the Trump issue?
Well, I think anytime, traditionally, right, any type of first-term president, the midterm is always kind of a backlash against them, right? Traditionally, that's how it usually is. We saw that with President Obama, we saw that with President Bush a little bit, and so on and so on. I think it's going to vary district by district, but I focus a lot on the House side of race, the U.S. House of Representatives, and you have the Congressional Leadership Fund out there, CLF, Paul Ryan, really kind of their leadership pack, even out on the West Coast already. I was out on the West Coast last week, and they have people door knocking already, working hard, getting all the information they need to make it useful come midterms. And I think it's really going to come down to who can target their voters better, who can message their voters more effectively, and who can turn out the voters as efficiently as possible.
Well, very good. I'm glad that we had the opportunity to Skype in again because you provide that national perspective to us here in your home state of Rhode Island. Anything else folks should know at the end of the week now with the post-Alabama fallout, keeping an eye on tax reform? As the end of the year approaches, anything else you want to share with viewers here?
Infrastructure plan, right, to go tackle it. That's not teed up as well as I'm sure the White House would like it to be teed up as, but I'm assuming early next year, January, we'll start to see plans for a infrastructure spending program.
Yep, we're keeping an eye on infrastructure here, that's for sure. We're always ranked in the lowest percentiles for roads and bridges. But as we mentioned, again, looking at tax reform, if the Republicans are going to get that win, the role that Rubio has in it, and again, as the White House is trying to make moves before Doug Jones is seated. Well, Spencer Sullivan with Lean Campaign Strategies, I appreciate your taking the time to Skype in today, a day after your birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much, Kate.
Okay, Spencer, we'll talk soon. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Okay, everyone, Spencer Sullivan, the Rhode Island native, Bishop Hendricken graduate, founder of Lean Campaign Strategies. Always good to get his perspective because he is around the country GOP consultant about what is taking place. Wanted to get his thoughts on the post-Alabama fallout and what we can expect with tax reform in this coming days here. So busy show here at GoLocal in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back to wrap up. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm GoLocal News editor Kate Nagel. Just here to sign off after a busy day here in studio. Molly O'Brien at the 3 o'clock hour had the 10th U.S. Archivist here in studio, the goalkeeper for the Providence College top 10 women's ice hockey team, Kristen McCrae, organizing in Rhode Island, making sure that you don't make any organizing mistakes. A great lifestyle hour, be sure to catch it. 4 o'clock news and politics kicked off with Ray Rickman, Bob Whitcomb, Harvard pollster John Della Volpe. Then we had Bobby Nardolillo, state rep, running for U.S. Senate. And then finally Spencer Sullivan from Inside the Beltway, giving us his perspective as a GOP consultant who is around the country regularly following the Alabama special Senate race and looking ahead to 2018. We're already looking ahead to tomorrow for another great lineup for you here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center at 3 o'clock with Molly O'Brien. I'll be back at 4 p.m. So be safe out there, everyone. The roads are pretty much clear here in Providence, but of course it's getting cold. So of course, drive safely. We wish everyone a great night. We appreciate your watching. We appreciate your feedback, and we look forward to seeing you here tomorrow. I'm GoLocal News editor Kate Nagel.